Welcome back to the deep dive. This is where we take that just overwhelming torrent of information, all the articles, the research, the notes you send in, and we try to distill it.
Right.
You
Yeah.
boil it down into the crucial, actionable insights you really need, like right now.
And today, we're not just talking about being a better creator. I think that's the old way of thinking.
A better CEO of your content, that's what we're getting at.
That's exactly right. Our mission today is really focused. It's about building an empire,
Right.
specifically a faceless empire, one that's scalable, that's fully automated, and this is the really critical part, one that's built on an ethical foundation in this, new age of generative AI.
Yeah, it's a complete paradigm shift for, anyone who publishes anything online.
It really is.
And I think everyone in the content world is still, hyper focused on the shiny new AI models.
For sure. The next video generator, the LLM that can write a better poem or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. But based on all our sources, the quiet story, the one that's happening right now that affects your time, your sanity, and frankly, your bottom line,
Yeah.
is this radical, massive upgrade in the foundational stuff, the hardware and the automated platform tools that let you generate really high quality content like 204/7.
It's the difference between looking at the engine and actually looking at the road,
I like that.
We are examining the practical blueprint, how digital creators, and especially those who operate without showing their face, the niche accounts, the educational brands, even these new synthetic characters.
The AI baddies.
The AI baddies, exactly. How they can escape that hamster wheel of just constant manual content creation.
We're cutting through the jargon today. We're talking hard strategy. The core mission for this deep dive, and we pulled this straight from the analysis, is to hand you the keys to building an empire that literally runs while you sleep. And to do that, we have to start at the foundation, the thing that makes it all possible.
The visible engine.
Okay, let's unpack that, the invisible engine. Let's start right at the hardware layer, the nuts and bolts.
Right.
Because it's one thing to say, oh, AI is accelerating. It's a whole other thing to really understand that the actual infrastructure supporting your little content factory has changed so fundamentally.
Yeah, high volume automation, it isn't really an option anymore.
It's becoming a mandate for success. So what are these foundational changes in the tech that are making all this possible, like right now?
The change is it's essentially twofold, and it really boils down to two big concepts: massive centralized power, and then on the other hand, localized personal power.
Okay.
Think about it like this. For years, we've been operating in the cloud era, right? Which is kind of like renting a spot in a huge public commercial kitchen.
Okay, yeah, I can picture that. It's powerful.
Super powerful, but it's shared, it's metered, you pay for what you use, and sometimes you have to wait in line.
Right, your job is in a queue somewhere.
Exactly. But now we're seeing two shifts happening at the same time. That public kitchen is getting exponentially bigger, and you're also getting a hyper-accelerated, specialized kitchen installed right in your own home.
I love that analogy. Okay, so let's stick with that. The commercial kitchen first, the big cloud data centers. Give us a simple explanation of what's happening there. What are the big hardware releases that matter?
So you're looking at companies like Nvidia, their latest chips, things like the Vera Rubin generation, which are moving into production now.
And what do those do?
They're designed for one thing: massive AI data centers. Their entire purpose is training and running these huge, really complex AI models that need incredible amounts of parallel processing.
So for the average faceless brand creator listening, you're not going out and buying one of these chips.
No, of course not. But the services you rent, your high-end text-to-video generators, your big language models, they're running on these beats.
So the tools get better.
The tools get drastically more powerful. And relative to the output you get, they get cheaper.
So the benefit there is just sheer capacity. It's like we can now generate hyper-realistic videos or huge data sets of content at a scale that was just, it was impossible before.
It's like renting 100 virtual CPUs for what used to be the price of 10.
Got it.
But the more immediate, and I think, the more revolutionary shift for the everyday creator, the person making clips in their home office.
Yeah, for the faceless brand.
Is that hyper-accelerated home kitchen. And that's edge AI. This is what you see from companies like AMD with their new Ryzen AI processors. They're rolling out fast.
Okay, edge AI. Let's simplify that. I'm just trying to create content, not build a computer.
Right.
What does more AI on your device actually mean for me if I just want to make better videos or faster captions?
It means you're breaking free from that cloud bottleneck.
Yeah.
Imagine you want to generate, say, 10 different versions of a voiceover for a little short clip.
Okay.
Or maybe you need to analyze a 4K video clip to make sure your synthetic host's eyes are tracking right.
Right, which used to be a pain.
It was. Previously, you'd have to upload that data to the cloud, wait 30 seconds, a minute for the server to process it, and then you pay a small fee for that server time.
And that little delay and that tiny cost, they add up. They limit how often and how much you can generate.
Exactly. If you want to run 50 iterations a day, those little costs and delays, they completely kill your ability to scale.
So with edge AI.
With Edge AI, the computing power is running right there on your laptop or your desktop. It's being accelerated by these new specialized processors. They call them NPUs, neural processing units.
So when I run my tools like a local script generator or some high-speed clipping software, it's just faster.
It's local, it's instant, and there's no per-use cost. It's the difference between rendering a high-quality 4K video clip in, say, 30 seconds versus 5 minutes.
Wow.
And that's speed.
Yeah.
That is what enables the high-volume continuous production line we're talking about.
That immediately makes me think that the minimum viable setup for a serious AI-driven creator has just changed, like overnight.
It has.
So if I'm running a faceless brand, what should I be focusing on when I look at my hardware? What's the bare minimum to handle this new kind of workload?
Well, the sources outlined 3 key components for what they're calling the 2026 creator hardware stack.
Okay.
And we can go back to your kitchen analogy. The first is RAM.
Okay, memory.
Right. Think of RAM as your counter space, your big, fast counter space. You need a lot of it to run all these demanding local AI models and manage multiple heavy apps at the same time. Your AI drafter, your video generator, your system manager.
So if the counter space is too small, everything just grinds to a halt and crashes.
Exactly. You can't prep multiple dishes at once.
Got it. What's number 2?
The second component, and this is the most crucial shift, is the new AI chips, the NPUs we just mentioned.
So these are the specialized ovens.
Perfect analogy. They're your specialized, high-powered parallel processing ovens. It's not just about a faster clock speed on your main processor anymore. It's about having dedicated AI acceleration built right in.
And what do they do, really?
These special units, they handle the repetitive, parallel tasks that AI needs, which frees up your main processor to do general stuff, like run your browser.
So when I'm shopping for a new machine, I should be looking for ones that specifically advertise these NPUs, these specialized AI cores.
Absolutely. That's the new
Great.
benchmark. And the third component is fast, ample storage. This is your pantry.
Right.
When you're generating high volumes of content, like a master 4K anchor episode and then 15 repurposed assets from it, you are dealing with a huge amount of data.
Just massive files.
Massive. You need fast NVMe SSD storage to keep up with the generation, the editing, the archiving speeds. If you're waiting 3 minutes for a file to save,
You've killed your automation strategy right there.
you kill it. The whole system breaks down.
Okay, that brings us to the big one, budgeting. This is a key concern for any creator trying to scale up. So if someone listening is running a faceless brand, their budget is limited. They can't just go out and buy a whole new top-of-the-line setup.
Right.
Where should they put their upgrade money first? What's the priority?
The guidance from the sources is really clear on this. You focus on whatever your current bottleneck is.
Okay.
For most creators right now, that is the processing speed for local AI tasks. So if your current machine struggles to run local apps like DaVinci Resolve or even the new generative features in Photoshop,
Yeah, if the little progress bar is just sitting there forever.
then prioritizing the new AI-enabled chips is the smartest move. Getting a new machine with an NPU, if you have a decent processor but you're running on like old, slow RAM, upgrading your RAM is the next best thing.
But the dedicated AI acceleration is the real game changer.
That's what fundamentally unlocks the ability to iterate at the speed that the current content landscape demands.
So what does this all mean for the human, for the creator? This isn't just about faster computers. It sounds like it's about the sheer volume and the variety of content that this new power enables.
It enables what we're calling immediate iteration.
Immediate iteration.
Yeah. The cheap, fast compute power on the edge. It allows you to run dozens of experiments at the same time. You can generate 10 titles for a video in like 2 seconds.
Wow.
And then instantly use a sophisticated tool to analyze which of those titles is likely to perform better based on your channel's own historical data.
So you're not guessing anymore.
You're not guessing. This is what allows you to start running, 5,000 localized ad campaigns or generate 100 subtly different thumbnail variations without these massive cloud costs or huge time delays.
That level of rapid testing and high volume output was, it was completely unattainable a year ago.
Completely.
Yeah.
And now it's becoming the minimum standard if you want to build a scalable brand.
Yeah.
It transforms you from a content producer into a volume manager.
That shift from producer to manager, that's the key transition here, isn't it?
It's everything.
So we're moving from the nuts and bolts of the hardware to the actual strategic workflow. We have the horsepower now. So how do we shift from that manual creation process to actually designing the most efficient, automated content factory? Because what the sources are revealing is that the major platforms themselves are quietly injecting AI to act as our co-pilots.
Yeah. And what's so fascinating here is that creators aren't having to go out and build these automation tools from scratch.
Right.
The platforms where the content actually lives, the places that desperately need more high-quality stuff to keep people scrolling, they're building the tools right into the back end.
Yeah.
They're doing the heavy lifting to speed up your workflow for you.
Let's start with the one that seems to be the most aggressive on this front, which is YouTube. They have these AI studio tools.
Yep.
What are these platform superpowers that are kind of hiding in plain sight that faceless brands absolutely must be using?
Okay, the first one, and this is maybe the most revolutionary strategy, is a tool called Ask Studio.
Ask Studio?
Yeah. It's essentially a conversational AI chatbot. And it's built right inside the YouTube Studio dashboard, where creators look at their analytics.
Okay, so it lives where I already work.
Exactly. And this tool is designed to automate that painful, super time-consuming process of market and data analysis.
So instead of me having to squint at retention graphs or spend 3 hours sifting through thousands of comments trying to figure out if people loved or hated my new background music,
Right.
what can Ask Studio actually do for a faceless brand creator?
Think of it like a 247 data strategist that is focused only on your content. It performs 3 really critical functions. First, it can summarize comment sentiment.
So not just good or bad.
No, it goes way beyond that. It identifies the prevailing emotional trend or specific points people are discussing. It might tell you, hey, viewers are primarily excited about the new synthetic host you introduced, but there seems to be some confusion over the pricing model you talked about at the 12-minute mark.
Whoa, that's moving beyond raw data into actual human insight.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Second, it brilliantly analyzes performance data in context. It can spot retention trends and correlate them to specific things in your video.
For example,
It might say, viewers who watch beyond the 10-minute mark consistently go on to search for external information on Vera Rubin chips. We suggest creating 3 short-form videos focused exclusively on that concept.
it connects the dots for you.
It connects the dots. And then finally, it uses that personalized data to suggest new, highly targeted content ideas. It basically eliminates the guesswork for what your next big anchor episode should be about, because it's basing the suggestions on real, verified audience engagement.
That fixes the grind, the whole what do I make next problem. And it gets even more automated when we look at the production side, right? Especially for long-form creators.
Yes. For anyone who's generating longer content, which, is necessary for this anchor episode strategy we're talking about,
Yeah.
the concept of auto shorts is a monumental time saver.
Okay, what is that?
So after a long video or maybe a live stream is processed, YouTube's AI automatically analyzes the content. It's looking for key metrics,
Like
segments where the energy was high, where the dialogue sped up, or, and this is the most important part, where audience retention was spiking for a moment.
So the platform itself is acting as a junior editor. It's pre-cutting the most potentially viral clips based on its own internal data, which, let's be honest, that's the only data that really matters on YouTube.
It completely shifts your job from manual sifting and slicing to strategic approval. The AI just serves up, say, 5 to 10 ready-to-use shorts candidates. You look them over, maybe you tweak the automatically generated title and description a bit, and you hit publish.
That completely removes the biggest bottleneck for long-form creators who, used to have to hire dedicated people just to cut clips.
That job is being automated.
Okay, I have a point of intellectual friction here, though.
Go for it.
If YouTube is pre-cutting the shorts for me based on their metrics, aren't they just pushing the content that they want to prioritize? Not necessarily what serves my brand's long-term message or my ethos best.
That is an excellent critical question.
Is that really a co-pilot, or is that a platform agenda pushing me in a certain direction?
And that's something every showrunner has to ask. The sources highlight this. You must maintain final editorial control. The AI is a brilliant assistant, a brilliant junior editor, but its primary goal is platform retention.
Not my brand integrity.
Exactly. So it's vital to use these AI suggestions as a starting point, not as the final answer. If the AI suggests a clip that is technically high retention, but it misrepresents your brand's core values,
The human CEO has to step in.
the human CEO has to overrule it. The AI reduces the labor. The human applies the judgment.
That makes a lot of sense. And speaking of labor reduction, let's just quickly touch on the podcast to video pipeline experimentation.
Yeah.
Because that sounds like content generation at its absolute simplest.
It pretty much is. This is YouTube experimenting with taking audio-only input, the simplest, fastest way to create content, and automatically turning it into visually engaging video.
So it's not just a static image with a waveform.
No, it's way more than that. The AI can add context-aware graphical overlays. It might pull in relevant stock footage from licensed libraries, and it uses text visualization that highlights key words as they're being spoken.
Wow.
So for faceless brands that rely heavily on, say, audio expertise or interviews, this is a massive leap. It allows them to instantly tap into YouTube's discovery engine without ever having to set up a complicated video studio.
This just confirms the broader trend we saw in the sources.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Similar automation, auto captioning, suggested replies, content categorization. It's all rapidly being integrated into TikTok, into Instagram, even into the social schedulers.
Yeah.
The whole market is racing to make creation as painless as possible.
So, okay, here's the key takeaway then. The scarcity is no longer editing time. It's not data analysis time. It's not even volume generation time.
Nope.
The scarcity is your unique opinion, your strategic oversight.
That's it.
Which brings us directly to the operational strategy, the showrunner strategy.
This is the blueprint. This is how you maximize output from minimal input. It recognizes that if you try to make 10 random pieces of content, you're going to fail.
Right.
But if you design a system that generates 10 pieces of content from one master recipe, that's when you succeed.
And that master recipe is the one anchor episode creates many assets strategy. Walk us through how a faceless brand can actually implement this structure. How do you get that exponential output?
The structure is everything. You have to stop thinking of yourself as a random poster. You need to start thinking of yourself as a studio producing structured, themed content.
The show.
A show. Your primary input is the anchor episode. This has to be a weekly or a bi-weekly deep dive, 30 to 45 minutes long, focused on one high-value topic.
So it could be a market analysis, an educational guide, a philosophical debate.
Whatever your niche is. But that single recording is the golden source material. It's the master document that defines the entire week's content flow.
Okay, so I've got my master document. What's the blueprint?
It's a simple 3-step automated blueprint. Step 1, record once. That's it. You do your 30, 45 minutes. That is your human labor input for the week.
Okay.
Step 2, run it through the AI tools. This is the critical stage. This is where the AI factory floor gets engaged.
Describe that factory floor for me. What are the tools actually doing beyond just a simple transcription?
They're performing a rapid multi-layered analysis. So first, they extract a complete timestamp transcript, but then they run what's called semantic tagging.
Meaning?
They identify key topics, entities, sentiment throughout the conversation. Then they perform hot take extraction.
Oh, I like the sound of that.
Yeah, using retention data and tone analysis, it pulls out the key quotable lines, the controversial statements that are just perfect for social media hooks. It identifies the most viral, valuable segments instantly.
It's basically creating a structured, pre-edited menu of all the best parts of the show.
Exactly. And then you get to step 3. Use those structured outputs to generate multiple assets. From that single 45-minute recording, the AI generates, often all at the same time.
Okay.
0.5 to 10 short vertical videos for Reels, Shorts, TikToks, already pre-titled and clipped.
Wow.
3 to 5 social hooks for X or Instagram, using those compelling, quote, snippets with pre-drafted captions, and 1 comprehensive Substack or email recap that summarizes all the main points.
So one human input gets translated automatically into, what, 10 to 16 distinct pieces of publishable content, all perfectly aligned with the same message. That's staggering efficiency.
It is, and it relies entirely on that strategic structure. Thinking in episodes and seasons gives your brand clarity. It makes the AI repurposing so much easier.
Right, because the AI knows everything relates back to episode 12, the rise of synthetic talent.
Precisely. It's what separates the AI slop creator, the person who just asks a model to generate random posts, from the AI showrunner who is leveraging AI on a defined, structured content framework. The structure. That's your greatest asset.
Okay, so if section 2 is about building the factory, this next part is about hiring the staff.
I like that. The shadow team.
Yeah, the shadow team. We're diving into the realm of the truly always-on system. We're talking about creating believable synthetic talent and automated management systems that work while the human is, well, sleeping or working on strategy.
And this is the part that really makes that faceless brand concept click. The brand might be faceless because the founder is off camera, but successful content still needs personality. It needs consistency.
And the solution is this synthetic talent pool.
It is. And these AI hosts, they're moving so quickly out of that uncanny valley. It's not just a weirdly static face reading a script anymore.
Not at all.
No, we're talking about technologies that are specifically designed to humanize the synthetic talent. These AI humanizers, they're focused on adding the crucial, subtle little details that make a character feel alive and trustworthy.
What are those specific details that actually matter? What makes it feel real?
It's all about subtlety. They add realistic micro-expressions, a slight furrow of the brow for emphasis, a faint smile during a positive statement.
Things you wouldn't even notice consciously.
Exactly. They ensure consistent eye contact with the camera, which is surprisingly hard for AI to do believably. They also generate smoother, more natural motion and gestures, a slight head tilt to mimic listening, or even just a natural blink rate.
All these tiny details, they add up.
They add up to tell the audience that this persona is engaged and paying attention.
Which means a faceless brand can maintain complete consistency. The human founder never has to worry about bad lighting, a messy background, or a scheduling conflict.
Exactly. And the most powerful use case here is the AI Baddie host.
Right.
This is a consistent, high-quality synthetic character. Maybe it has a strong visual identity, a specific voice, and it appears on every single short-form video.
And its job is just to deliver those hot takes.
Just to deliver the hot takes and the key points that were extracted from the long-form anchor episode, the human founder stays off camera, focused on strategy, while the brand still gets that crucial consistency and personality you need to connect with an audience.
That really does solve the perennial problem for faceless brands, which is how to build personality without sacrificing your privacy or your time.
Right.
But the team goes beyond just the on-screen talent. We're talking about fully automated administration now.
Yes, the administrative agents, the bots. These are the always-on AI systems that manage the content flow.
So they can post things.
They can post, they can handle basic pre-approved comment responses, and they could even direct message specific audience segments, around the clock. It ensures the channel is engaging with its community 24/7, no matter what time zone they're in.
I've heard about tools that can draft posts, but our sources describe something much more powerful that tackles information overload. They call them auto-judging agents. What are these? How do they change the content review process for a showrunner?
Auto-judging agents are your filter layer. They are the AI equivalent of a high-level content strategist whose only job is efficiency. They operate in that gap between high-volume generation and human review.
Okay, explain that process to me.
So when generative AI creates output, it creates volume, right? An LLM might draft 50 different variations of a YouTube title.
Oh, God, yeah.
20 different descriptions, 10 different thumbnail ideas. Sifting through 80 variations is still manual labor.
It's a job in itself.
It is. The auto-judging agent takes that massive output and runs it through internal scoring models.
And what are those models judging on? What's the criteria?
They're judging based on data you feed them. They're often focused on your historical performance and your current goals. So, for example, they might prioritize titles based on predicted click-through rate, how similar titles have performed for you in the past.
Smart.
Or on semantic alignment, how well the title aligns with your core brand tone. Is it high friction, low friction? Does it use a curiosity gap? They rate, they rank, and they prioritize the best few variations.
So the human only has to look at the top 3 options instead of sifting through 50 mediocre ideas.
Exactly.
That drastically cuts down on what you called sifting time, which, you're right, used to be the biggest time sink after editing.
It completely reverses the creative flow. Instead of the human brainstorming for hours until they get one good idea, The AI generates 50 ideas instantly, and the human CEO applies strategic, critical judgment to the very best data-backed options. The human is no longer the grunt worker. You're the strategic approver, the quality control specialist.
So if we frame this whole structure as building a shadow team, what does the org chart look like for the Faceless brand CEO now?
It's a highly specialized, really efficient team of digital assistants. We could break it down perfectly based on the tools we've talked about.
Lay it out for me.
Ask Studio is your data strategist. It's giving you performance analysis and proactive ideas. AutoShorts is your junior editor, pre-cutting your most valuable viral clips.
Okay.
AI Humanizers are your on-screen talent coach, making sure your synthetic characters look polished. And the Auto-Judgers are your content strategist, filtering all that generated output down to the top choices.
And the human creator, the listener, they become the CEO and the showrunner.
Absolutely. Your role shifts entirely from being the chef who cooks every single meal to being the restaurant owner. You set the menu, you control the quality, and you manage the automated kitchen staff.
Right.
Your job becomes strategic direction, brand integrity, and injecting that unique personality and angle, that point of view, that only a human can provide.
Which leads directly to that central hot take the sources raised. If the AI is doing 80% of the content generation, are you even a creator anymore? Or does this transformation actually make you more of a CEO?
The designation absolutely shifts. I mean, if your primary task is directing AI agents, reviewing data-backed decisions, and approving content variations, you are operating at an executive level.
You own the system.
You own the system. And the profound implication of that is this. The real creator, middle class, might not be defined by who has the largest audience anymore.
But by who?
But by those who own the systems and the characters. They are the architects of the automated content factory, not the laborers working inside it. And that is the new definition of wealth in the creator economy.
Owning the system. It sounds brilliant, but it immediately introduces the most critical challenge for any faceless brand that's leveraging this level of automation.
Trust.
Trust, exactly. If we are creating synthetic voices and faces, and we're allowing AI agents to comment and post 24/7, how do we possibly build trust when deepfakes and AI scams are just rising exponentially?
This is a new trust war, and it affects every single synthetic persona, whether it's ethical or not. Automation increases your speed and your volume, but it fundamentally introduces a vulnerability, believability, and source verification.
And we're seeing these incredibly potent, real-world negative examples. The rise of sophisticated AI deepfake scams that clone voices and target vulnerable communities.
Impersonating familiar figures to solicit money. Yeah, it's terrifying.
And every single time a major scam like that breaks, it poisons the well for every single ethical, faceless brand that's just trying to use synthetic talent.
For sure, because the audience just becomes hyper-skeptical of anything that doesn't look instantly and verifiably real.
Exactly. So if I'm building a reputable, faceless brand using my AI Baddie host, I have to proactively fight against this perception that I'm just another short-lived, low-effort scam account.
So what's the response from the gatekeepers? The platforms, the regulators? How are they going to handle this rising crisis of fakes?
Well, the consensus from the sources points toward mandatory clarity.
Yes. Platforms and regulators, they're responding with verification and sourcing layers. We're anticipating a really strong shift toward explicit labels, digital watermarks, and maybe even cryptographic verification for AI-generated faces and voices.
Which makes sense. They have to protect the integrity of their platforms.
They have to. They need users to be able to easily distinguish at a glance between human-generated content and AI-generated content. If they don't get that right, trust collapses and engagement goes with it.
But that could be a huge obstacle if you're trying to build a consistent, believable AI character. I mean, if every video has this big, disruptive, AI-generated label slapped on it, doesn't that inherently kill the vibe? Doesn't it kill the connection the character is trying to build?
It could, if you handle it poorly. This is why the best response, according to our sources, is where transparency becomes your strategy.
Leaning into it.
You aggressively lean into it. You weave it into the brand's lore. You position your faceless brand as ethical because you are open about your systems.
How does that look in practice for a creator? Give me some of those trust-building playbook ideas that actually enhance the brand instead of detracting from it.
One of the most effective ideas is sharing behind-the-scenes content. You actually show the human behind the curtain directing the AI host.
Oh, interesting.
You create meet-the-model lore. You give your synthetic character a consistent name, a backstory, and you explicitly state their purpose. The Analyzer is our dedicated AI agent, designed to distill complex information quickly. It's controlled by the showrunner.
So instead of some sterile legal disclaimer at the bottom of the description,
Right.
you integrate it into the content itself. You make the synthetic nature part of the character's identity, like a consistent co-host.
Precisely. You use disclaimers that enhance trust. A small, consistent visual tag that says content generated by the analyzer, strategic oversight by human alias, that immediately establishes an ethical guardrail.
It tells the audience, I'm being transparent, and there is a human accepting liability and ensuring quality control.
Exactly. It manages expectations and it builds long-term loyalty far better than trying to trick the audience into thinking the AI is real.
This focus on transparency, it just reinforces that the human's role isn't obsolete at all. It's just shifted entirely to quality control and to ethics.
Right.
So where does the human have to stay in the loop to avoid that AI slop problem, that overwhelming tide of cheap, low-quality content?
This is the critical line in the sand for any successful faceless brand. The rule is this. The AI should draft, summarize, clip, and propose variations. It handles the volume, the mechanics, the heavy lifting.
But
The human, however, must decide the angle, the hot takes, and what they are willing to stand on publicly.
so the AI can find 10 potential viral quotes, but the human CEO has to decide if that quote aligns with the brand's core message or if it's too controversial or ethically dubious to publish under the brand's name.
Exactly. The human provides the clear brand voice guidelines and handles that final legal and ethical review process for anything sensitive. If your AI is generating content about complex financial investments or, politically charged science, a human needs to review that and assume liability for that statement.
Your point of view, your unique human perspective,
Yeah.
that is the scarce and valuable resource. Everything else is just volume that can be automated. The strategic transparency and ownership, it leads us to this really bold, long-term speculation that was raised by our sources, and it completely flips the script on how we view trust online.
Yeah.
What is the long-term bet regarding these synthetic characters?
The bold speculation is that audiences may eventually become more comfortable with clearly defined AI characters than they are with real-looking humans online who lack any verifiable context or receipts.
Okay, that is deeply counterintuitive. Why would an audience ever trust an explicitly fake, branded character more than a real human influencer?
Because of the clarity. Because of the managed expectations. The source poses this really provocative question. Will the declaration, I'm an AI, become the new trust signal?
A trust signal. How could that possibly happen?
Because the AI character, when it's governed by the ethical guardrails we just discussed, is transparent about its origin. Its
Yes.
output is designed to be verifiable.
Okay.
Meanwhile, the general human-led content landscape is filling up with real-looking humans using deep filters, AI-generated backdrops, and completely manufactured life stories, but they lack any clear context or verified history.
So that real-looking content starts to feel inherently suspicious, even if it's not technically a scam.
Exactly. The AI is honest about being a system. The human may be hiding the fact that they are operating as a manufactured fantasy.
That is a massive psychological shift that we are heading towards. And the sources go even further, raising this complex legal question about the protection of these digital personas.
Yeah, the idea that the synthetic character might actually be safer than the human's own likeness.
They ask, are we heading toward a reality where your faceless, transparently AI-generated baddie character is more legally protected than your own likeness?
Explain that legal distinction. What does that mean for the listener?
Okay, so if you, the human founder, are relying on your own face and voice online, your legal protection against deepfakes, unauthorized use, defamation, it's messy, it's complex, it's highly dependent on platform terms of service and laws that are still evolving.
Your likeness is a legal gray area in the age of generative models.
Right. However, if you have established a consistent, high-quality, synthetic AI character, a character like the analyzer, and you own the intellectual property for it,
The IP, the voice model, the visual identity, the operating system behind it.
you have clear intellectual property rights over that character. You have a legally defendable, trademarkable entity that is distinct from your messy human self.
So you can license it, you can sell it, you can defend that consistent AI persona much more easily than you can defend your own filtered selfie from being used by some scammer.
And that is the ultimate irony of the Faceless brand. The CEO's unique synthetic character gains a legal clarity and a consistency that the human founder's own likeness might actually lack in all the digital noise. The IP is in the system, not the person.
We've covered an incredible amount of ground today.
We really have. Moving from the specialized hardware under your desk to the massive strategic shift in platform co-pilots, and then finally to this ethical tightrope of building a trustworthy synthetic brand.
The transformation is clear.
It is. The creator economy is shifting away from relying on manual labor, the cooking, and toward relying on smart systems, the automated kitchen. And that human point of view, that unique angle, that is the most scarce and valuable resource left.
So to synthesize everything we've covered, the path forward for the faceless brand creator is not about working harder. It's not about generating more random content. It's about becoming a better systems architect and a strategic CEO.
Okay, so let's give the listener their final action plan. Something practical they can go and implement this week to start building their own automated factory.
Start small. That's the key. Pick one part of your current workflow, not all of it.
Right.
Whether it's generating clips or drafting captions or analyzing your analytics, just commit to automating that single task this week. And then commit to adopting the plug-and-play workflow we outlined and do it consistently.
The record once, run through AI, publish intentionally workflow.
Exactly. Record your main content piece for 30-45 minutes on one high-value topic. Run it through your chosen AI tools to generate the structured outputs, the transcript, the hot takes, the clips.
And then publish intentionally.
Publish intentionally. One long-form piece, several shorts or reels, and one written recap. That is a scalable, efficient, and intentional system that's built to maximize your human input.
Okay, now for the final provocative thought. The ultimate tension that every faceless brand owner has to address, and this is pulled directly from the source material. If AI chips make infinite content cheap, and the platforms are incentivizing that content flow with their co-pilots, what is the consequence? What happens next?
We have to ask this question. Do the platforms eventually start quietly punishing or deranking high-volume AI channels for potentially overwhelming the feed with noise? Or do they secretly favor them? Because this infinite, cheap, targeted content is what keeps people scrolling and watching for longer.
That is the critical tension, isn't it? The platforms need unique human voices to maintain quality and avoid the slop, but they also desperately need infinite retention fodder to keep their business model alive.
And if your faceless brand can deliver the latter while preserving the former through strong human oversight and that ethical transparency,
you win.
You win. Own the system, own the characters, and watch the systems run while you sleep. That is the mandate for the new CEO creator.
Thank you for joining us for the deep dive. We'll see you next time.